Hey everyone, it's Darby from Blue Television Games. In my last 1 hour 10 item challenge series, I challenged you guys to make some levels. There was over 30 courses submitted, and I have chosen my favorite 10 of those 30. If your course wasn't picked, don't be too hard on yourself. It was really hard to narrow it down to 10 courses. There was so many good submissions, so I had a lot of trouble picking the 10 of the best. These were the items that were given. You could use the Goomba Shoe or Yoshi, wings, mushrooms, solid blocks, Lakitus, donut blocks, skull platforms, tracks, Magikoopas, doors. In addition to those items, you also got ground pieces and checkpoints. I'll put a link in the description that takes you to a video that has all the courses in it. But to make a shorter video where you could just concentrate on some of the best, I decided just to make a best of video. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, the first course I'm going to show you is Kamik is Not Home. I've included the course IDs up in the top left so you can find the courses very easy if you're liking what you see. This was definitely one of my favorites. I love the ghost house theme and I liked trying to figure out how to get through this one. Nothing was overly complex or really tricky to figure out, but it did keep you kind of searching around to figure out how to get to each part. I really enjoyed this part with the flying blocks too. I thought it was just kind of fun to maneuver through here while the Lakitu was throwing down the spinies. I also like when you pass puzzles and you can kind of guess the items you'll need. I kind of knew I was going to have to destroy these blocks so that way I could access the store over here. And it's always satisfying to do ground pounds with the big shoe. I just think it's really fun to do. And to get to each section of this, you actually have to find your way through and do ground pounds to open it up so you can get to the final door. And all of this footage is original footage from when I first played the levels. So this isn't me playing back through, this is actually what it was like for me the first time I had to play through these. I did edit out all the deaths so that way you can just see a playthrough of the completed level. I really thought the layout of this looked really nice as well. I like how he used the solid blocks in combination with the donut blocks and the ground pieces. Everything looks really nice, and when you consider he had limited items, I just think he did a great job with atmosphere on this. So once again, we're back here near the beginning. We can open up this section. And like before, the first puzzle, we're going to need those blue skulls in order to access a door at the end. I like the repetition of the puzzles in this a lot as well. Also, because how he designed the course with all the solid blocks, it allows Kamik to be more of a threat as he can shoot those blocks and turn them into random enemies. So now that we've unlocked all the pieces of the puzzle, we can go through the door up here. And that takes us to the end. I thought the level had a really good length. And like I said, I really liked the ghost house theme with these items. I thought he did a great job. Alright, for the next course we have 1 hour 10 item challenge, no shrooms. I've played some no shroom levels where you have to dodge the mushrooms in order to get through. Usually there's a gap that's way too small for the big Mario to get through. And that's pretty much what he's done here. And I actually really like this setup. One of the cool things is you have to go vertically and down. And then once you get through this section, you have to backtrack back through these obstacles. And all the obstacles feel a little bit different when you're going back the other way. With the skull platform out of the way, it allows those mushrooms to get out of the way. That way you can go up through the beginning section. Definitely think that was really creative. See, now instead of jumping up through and dodging those, I had to drop down on the donut blocks. And I just thought it was kind of cool that the old obstacles became a new challenge. I thought that was really good. Here's the first section that would be probably impossible to get through without the mushrooms. I also liked this section because you had the option to jump on the moving blocks, or you could jump over and hit the solid blocks. So if you want to make smaller jumps, it's actually a more challenging. This also made good use for the Lakitu, as he could throw mushrooms down instead of enemies, since mushrooms are pretty much your only real enemy in this now. Now Magikoopas are very cool in this too, because sometimes when they hit those solid blocks, they'll turn into mushrooms. So they pose multiple threats in this. This last section just has a few more, not too hard jumps, just to get by a few more mushrooms. The tracks worked perfectly for this. And here we have our last little obstacle. I was a little nervous, I really didn't want to mess up at this point. And once you get through, you can finish up the level. Definitely clever use of the items, and a very good course. Alright, the next course we have is Ocean Attack. It was the only water level I received, I believe. I was curious to see what someone would do with these items underwater, and in my head I would have thought it would have been really hard to come up with anything good, but he did such a great job. This was definitely one of my favorites. I really like the ground pieces with the solid blocks wrapped around. I think it looks really cool. I love the enemies on the circle tracks. I like how he also used track pieces as more of just an aesthetic to make the level look cool. Like these little bridges are being held up by some wires or something like that. Plus, with all the solid blocks around, it made Kamik more of a threat, just like some of the other courses. Since there was no question mark blocks or brick blocks, people had to get pretty creative with the power-ups, so placing that mushroom on the track was a perfect solution. A lot of people either did track or put it between two solid blocks, and I saw a lot of people use wings as well for the power-ups. I love the ground pieces here, how it looks like checkered. It just looks really cool. Skull platforms look great also. It's kind of like a little mini-boss. Finally found an opening and got through there. Of course I took the hit, but at least we were at the end. I really like this ending too. I always like creative endings. I like how you fall on the skull platform and go through the checkpoint. It's kind of a pointless checkpoint, but it's also really cool because it adds to the ending. Great job on that one. Alright, next up we have Steel Jungle. This is one of the few that used the Mario 1 theme. And the airship theme in Mario 1 is actually just really nice looking, especially when you set it up right. He did a good job of using the background ground elements. How those little like railings and posts and flags pop up. Since he didn't have semi-solid platforms, using that it definitely gave it some extra style. And this course was definitely pretty challenging at parts and a little bit tough to beat. There's tons of Magikoopas to deal with on this one, but with the solid ground pieces, it kind of blocks their spell here and there, and it definitely makes it a fair challenge. I like this little smashing section as well. I like how I had to stop for a minute and figure out what to do, that way I didn't get smashed. And this right here was a great use of skull platforms. I like how I have to get each one out of the way so you can continue on. Checkpoints are always great, even on an easier level or a harder level like this. It's just really nice not to have to redo things, and I always think it's nice to put a checkpoint at least somewhere in your level. Especially if you're like me and you play hundreds of Mario Maker levels a week. It just really saves you a lot of time when you don't have to replay stuff. Adding the wings to Lakitu is something I always forget about, but it definitely makes them more of a threat. I was lucky and landed in his cloud and was able to fly up and grab the flagpole. Definitely like the length of this one. I like courses that aren't afraid to be a little shorter. The challenge, the style, everything about this was just great. Next we have House of Queen Shu. I like when the thumbnails include the 10 items you could use. I think that's a really cool idea. Alright, so for this one it starts out just a little slow, but I think when you use Kamik with the walls, it's always good to make them one thick, that way you don't have to wait too long. And 2 different people used this. I thought this course was just a little better than the other one. The other one that did this I thought started off pretty nice, but I really liked the solid walls coming at you that you had to dodge here. That was one of the reasons that made this one stand out a little more to me. I think that box shape that you're trapped in is really, really cool. And here he used ground pieces very usefully too. You have to dodge some more stuff. It's definitely got that nice claustrophobic kind of feel to it where you kind of gotta panic because you don't have a lot of room to dodge things. Also, the random Magikoopas are cool because when they start appearing here, they can actually destroy your little box that you're trapped in. And as always, I love checkpoints. So here we have a little skull raft part. A little bit of blocks to dodge. And I love this little wave section. I think it works so cool with the skull platform. Feels like you're going up and down waves. It's just really cool. That drops you off up here. Here you get an option to get a boot. The boot's always fun, whether it's the stiletto, the boot, the giant boot, or the giant stiletto. I always have a blast hopping around in that. Plus you can take an extra hit like I did there. I took a hit just to get the boot, but you know. I like this little platform there with the donut blocks. I like how he repeats it. Repetition is always great. The skull rafts for design right there is really cool. And then to finish the level, you can do your little ground pound to get through. Once again, a level with a great length. A good challenge, and it just looked great. Definitely one of my favorites. Next up, we have Darby's 10-item challenge. Here we have the underground level theme from Super Mario Bros. 1. He's also added skull platforms on tracks as a little bit of design elements. And I love the track pieces that make it look like they're holding up the platforms. The look of this is just great. I like when you use limited items. And then, you know, he's got the background elements everywhere. Just everything about this level looked great. On top of that, I just thought it was really well designed and really fun to play. It's got some difficult platforming here and there. It also gives you the option to steal the clouds here and there. And the stiletto with the wings gives you a little option to kind of flutter when you jump. This right here was definitely one of the trickier sections. As you can see, I died right there. But I believe I got this on my second try. I can't remember, it was a while ago. One little tricky jump there, you're able to take out the Lakitu. And then they've got these last few little platforms here. And a little mini Magikoopa battle where you have to figure out which one took the flagpole. I always think that's really cool. I think if you're going to use the Magikoopas, it's always worth doing that at the end. Alright, next up we have Blue Television Games 10-item challenge by Lee12. There was a lot of good feedback about this course in the comments. I enjoyed this one as well. I thought the fortress theme worked great with these items. And he used the solid blocks as a snake. And I always think that's kind of fun, especially when it's done well. You have enough time to kind of figure out where you're going to need to go to stay up, which I think is definitely the key to a snake level. The Kamiks shooting down at you pose a pretty big threat because they can actually destroy your platform that you're going around on. I kept this Buzzy Beetle shell as a little extra thing to take out an enemy, and I got to take out this Magikoopa with it. And I really like this idea. Like, if you don't go through that door in time, you are done for. So, gotta make sure you go through that door there. Gives you a checkpoint. This was definitely one of my favorite parts of the course. It's like a little mini puzzle. Basically, you have to make your own little platform to get across. Or to do that, you have to go down below and activate all these skulls. Magikoopa here definitely made this part a little tricky. Depending on where he spawned, it could be a little bit hard to get all these activated. Once you do, you can ride the skulls up and then walk across your little platform you created. And then jump up and go through the door. I thought that was really cool. This next section was definitely the hardest part. Requires you to use a Lakitu's Cloud to traverse part of the course. The issue I had right here, and this was the only small issue I thought with this course, is that once you get through here, your cloud's about done for and you don't have a lot of time to figure out what to do next. As you can see here in a second, I believe I die. Yeah, I just wasn't quite ready for it. So I had to go back and redo a little bit of it to get back here again, but once I saw what I needed to do, it really wasn't that bad. There's just a little mini boss fight at the end and then you can get the axe. I thought that was pretty fun too. I think you always have to put a little boss fight at the end of a fortress level. Alright, next up we have one screen puzzle, Resetti. And there was quite a few puzzle courses. I thought that was really cool that people had attempted to do this. And there was actually some one-screen puzzles, which I thought was really cool. This one relied on doors to reset things to get through it. And I thought it was a really clever puzzle, especially given the limited items. This definitely had great use of the different kind of skull platforms, as the blue ones will stay up forever and the white ones will fall down. Like right here, Yoshi's stuck up there because of the blue skull platforms, but when you go through the door, it resets the level. Now Yoshi's able to fall down and you can collect them. On this part I did kind of sloppily. I don't think I did this part quite right, but as long as you don't lose Yoshi into the bottomless pit down at the bottom, you're fine. You just gotta make sure you keep Yoshi long enough. Eventually I was able to eat the 2 Magikoopas and get around to the backside, which is the easiest part. I was able to finish the level. I just thought this puzzle was really creative, especially with the limited items, and that's why it's one of my favorites. Alright, next course we have is Blue Television Puzzle. And this one is literally just one screen. This one took me a while to figure out, and in this edited version I cut out a lot of me trying to figure out because it's such a small one-screen puzzle. There's a lot of parts where I was pretty much just doing the same thing over and over. And I believe the solution I found wasn't quite the right solution, but I also thought it was really cool that there was more than one solution for this. I knew I had to take out the Magikoopa in the top left because he takes the axe right at the beginning of the level. When you go through the door to reset, he does it again. So he goes all the way around up to the top, and he gets stuck in that top left. You have to kill him in order to get the axe to return, and you can finish the level. So I knew that I somehow had to kill him, and the only idea I could think of was to get fire with Yoshi and spit it at him. I noticed that sometimes the Magikoopa would turn the axe into a flying Cheep Cheep, and when the Cheep Cheep went into the lava, it would catch on fire, and then you could eat it and spit the fire out. I was trying to figure out a way to get the fire Cheep Cheep where I could eat it and spit it up there and kill him. Here I finally got one and I spit it out on accident. The other issue I had was how was I going to get high enough to actually hit him with it. I tried to just run and jump and hit him, but it just really wasn't even close, as you'll see here in a minute. Not even anywhere near him. So then I decided I somehow had to get a Cheep Cheep heading the other direction and get on the other side, because then I could jump up that wall. I'd be able to hit the Magikoopa with the fireballs. So the biggest issue I had was trying to figure out how I could get a flaming Cheep Cheep to come at me instead of go away from me. Here I ate this mushroom, spit it out. So I knew if I had fire I could hit him. But when I shot the mushroom at Magikoopa, he actually turned it into a flaming Cheep Cheep. And this is where I found my solution to the puzzle, which from what I read wasn't the correct one. But either way, I was able to kill the Magikoopa and get the axe to return and finish the level, as you'll see here in a moment. So it's cool that this had more than one solution, and once again, you know, he had limited items and made a one-screen puzzle. That's really cool and really hard to do. Alright, for the final course of the top 10, we have Magikoopa Fortress. These are not in any sort of order. I just picked my favorite 10, put them in the video, and this is the order they ended up in. So you guys let me know which ones you liked the most from this series. I thought all 10 of these were great, especially given the challenge of 1 hour and only being able to use 10 items, plus ground pieces and checkpoints. This one I really liked because the Magikoopas could actually take out the walls that you all jump on. I thought that was really cool. It was definitely the best New Super Mario Bros. U style level I'd saw. I thought this one just looked great, and I liked the design of it. I feel like he didn't get carried away with enemy spam or anything like that. This was probably my favorite part right here. Because this moving platform is donut blocks, you really have to keep hopping or you'll end up losing all of your platform. The Magikoopa shooting at you definitely presented a big challenge at this part. Because if you jumped to keep the donut block from falling down, but then the Magikoopa shot at you, you really had to be on your toes and jump. It was just really hard. And I like it because it's this big spiral, so you know you're getting closer and closer, and it just gets really intense. Definitely had me worried. I was so happy when I finally got to the door. Here he gives you a little Yoshi, but I lost it. And I like this little mini boss battle at the end where you have to wait for the Magikoopas to reveal the axe. I thought that was really cool. And once again, just a great length to the level. It wasn't overly complicated. I love long levels too, but I also appreciate when short ones can be really creative and fun like this. Alright guys, well that'll conclude my best of video. Thanks again for all the submissions. All the levels were great. Like I said before, it was really hard to pick my 10 favorites, but I think these 10 were the best of the best. The current 10 item challenge I'll be doing just on my own, but I will do another one like this in the future where I challenge all of you. It just takes a long time to do this series, playing all your levels and everything, so I won't be able to do it as often, but I promise I'll be doing this again because it was a lot of fun for everyone. Till next time, I'll see you guys around.